I made a point in year 12 that when I enter uni, I'm gonna find a dance club to join. And I didn't know what dance clubs were there actually. It was more like a thing like, okay, if there's no dance clubs, then like, well, screw that, whatever. But if there is, like, I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna latch to it. I started dancing at like 8 years old. My parents put me in for a program like at this local community center, and we were being taught I guess what we call the coconut dance. So you had like coconut shells, like half shells on your knees, hips, shoulders, and your shoulder blades, and you had coconut halves in your hands as well, and you'd use that to kind of like do it to the music. And it actually, if you look at it, it actually kind of resembles whacking in a way. I still use a lot of the concepts from that dance actually today with my stuff. And then when I was 9 years old, my older brother, he entered high school. During that time, the Melbourne Shuffle and sea walking were really popular amongst like teenagers back then. Whenever he come home, he just teaches these steps that he learned from his friends. The very first step I learned was the V walk, which like a lot of hip hop, those that do hip hop foundation will call the crab walk. From there, I kind of just ventured out into other styles that I saw on TV. All that kind of continued until I was like maybe 13, 14. We had a breaking club at high school, and the people that were meant to be teaching us, they had already graduated by the time we were 14 or we were 15. So like we'd hang out like as the breaking club, but then like we had no one to teach us, so we didn't know what to do. And yeah, I guess we kind of just stopped for a while. This leads into MMJ as well, because after kind of not dancing for so long and like dancing as a kid and like not having that as much in my teen years, that bug really grew. The dancing bug really grew. I just wanted to, I guess, like dance again. I just wanted to know what it like, I guess, like felt like. And then, week 2017, I found the MMJ stall, and I ran into a community member called Randy. He's a good friend of mine still today, and the rest is history from there.
For me, my friends were in this like dance extracurricular, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to be left out, so like I joined as well. But then
Are you talking about MMJ?
no,
The
no, no, no,
extracurricular
no.
thing?
No, like when I studied, but then it was boring, right? The teacher does like aerobics and stuff. I'm like, okay.
How I got interested in dance was probably when I was in high school. I mean, I always had like a little bit of an interest in dance. Like back when I first found out about dance, it was like through like Jabberwockies. So like really OG, like wearing the white mask and things like that. And like I didn't even know what their name was at the time. I was like, guys dancing in white masks. That's what I would like Google.
And then K-pop happened, I think I just started like learning the dance by myself and stuff, and I was like, oh, actually dancing is fun, and then after that I found other dances, like not just K-pop,
So yeah, me and a bunch of my mates were just trying to dance in high school when Quest Crew was really big.
like Quest Crew, I guess, like American Best Dance Crew.
So like ABDC, around that time.
But then I never really go anywhere else, like I only watch videos. I did dance till high school, but then like just on the side,
I think when you're interested in something, you just like obsess over it. So I just like obsessed over this dance, and then yeah, it started in high school pretty much. Yeah. I first found out about MMJ through my mate Jeff. I went over there for like a collab, so me and him were just really tight around the time. I hadn't actually joined the club or anything like that. Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, this is MMJ, and like we're just kind of using this space while classes were going on. And I just found it really dope that there was like this community of dancers outside of my crew.
I found out MMJ from Uni James.
I think I know.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
he like
yeah.
non-res, isn't he?
Yeah.
Carlos?
Yeah. Was it a charity workshop? Like it's very small. So I knew him from the workshop, and then he was like, oh, join MMJ, something like that. So I'm like, okay. But then I'm like, I'm not sold yet. But then I still talk to him, and then he was like, oh, go to he invited me to MMJ's workshop that semester, and that is how I got the MMJ membership from there.
So yeah, that was like the year before I joined MMJ as a teacher. And then the year after, Sanaka actually hit me up on Facebook. She was like, hey, would you be down to teach? And I was like, heck yeah, I would. And then I met people like Alec. Right now I find him to be like a homie. So yeah, they took me on as a teacher, and I just got to know the community and things like that, like the MMJ community.
So the first year, I'm not really a club person, so I don't really like joining clubs. I think it's a design student thing. Yeah, not many people in our cohort really joined clubs. So I was like, okay, I'm not really interested anyway. So I just took a few K-pop classes, and I think I took like one urban and one hip-hop, and I kind of left. But then in 2018, I had a design class with Jake, and Jake really tried to recruit me and reel me in. Kept talking about MMJ in class and like telling me to go watch them at performances, and like, oh, there's a K-pop class, you should come. And I think I started taking house classes. I didn't know that house was a dance style until MMJ, to be honest. I always thought of house as like house music, like party music. And I think I was drawn to it because I did tap dancing in the past, and I loved tap dancing. And Alec is just a cool dude. Like he's a great teacher, and he's a chill guy, so he's like really friendly and easy to get along with. And I think he was a great teacher / friend that is good at being chill, but then also kind of indirectly making you do things. And I think because of that combination, he asked me, oh, do you want to do this project? Like, you know, it's just a dance video, whatever. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll get along with it. And then slowly it just accumulated to more and more projects. And I'm always like so grateful that he always asks me, because I also want to keep improving, like for the whole team and for the whole group.
By the time that I had fully decided that like, yeah, I'm going to dance a lot more, it was the end of my first year in uni. Everybody was really welcoming. I was like introduced to a whole new world, and I was just excited. But next year I became president, and that was like a whole turn in like my direction. Like all of a sudden I wasn't necessarily dancing like and trying to develop myself. I was more so focusing all that energy into developing a club.
I was really not planning on being a committee member, not at all. Because to be honest, my parents didn't really like, they still don't. They don't like me dancing, like doing anything dance related that much. They obviously just want me to focus on uni stuff. So then I'm like, I really cannot do it. But they're like, I think it was Anthony. Anthony actually had to go because I think that was already his last year. And he's like, I really need someone. And then I thought to myself, because that's creative, and I'm also doing architecture. So I'm like, I can definitely do some sort of creative stuff to just help with my degree, my experience, all that. So I'm like, you know what? I'll do creative. I'll take on the creative role. And he trained me and stuff. So I designed one of the stuff, like the posters, whatever, all that, for the second semester of 2017. Yeah. And then somehow there was like this group of like YC, Oppa, Olian, Sean. They just came up to me just one day and they're like, hey, do you want to go have lunch? I'm like, really? You want to have lunch with me? And we had lunch and they just talked to me. They're like, you want to be vice pres? It's really not that hard. And I'm like, that came out of nowhere. What? I try to like get out of it because I'm like, or if I do vice, who's going to be, creative, right? But somehow Jake appeared. They're like, well, we have Jake. He can be creative. And I'm like, no, not like this. Yeah, they told me it's not going to be a lot of work. They told me it'll be fine. They told me I'm going to be working together with 2 other people. So we're basically going to be a triangle. And we'll be doing like things shared between the 2 of us. It won't be that hard. It's just managing people. I'm like, okay, doesn't sound too bad. At that time, they were very promising. Like they sounded like they were going to be there to help me. So I'm like, So I'll really let it go. I'll give let it go. So it was just me, Alec, and Sanaka, press, vice press, and head of dance.
When I first entered MMJ, I associated MMJ to be that generation, you know, and then when you look at the Facebook page and you look at the YouTube, it's like them. And I was in like a lower level of committee, so there wasn't a lot of commitment. But then that turnover of generations, that generation that I associated with MMJ, then just leaving right when I became president, that was really difficult. We had to do a lot of community building from scratch. I did not know a lot of the community members personally, so it was a really, I would say, kind of awkward, honestly, at times, because I just didn't have like some relationship with them, and we were all definitely learning everything by scratch. Like, yeah, we had handovers and all that kind of stuff, but it was still really new to us.
So basically being just a member of the club, it just basically just come and go. I'll just come to the classes, like 1 hour to a class, and then I'll just go back, and that was just it. I did not have to worry about anything at all. And as soon as I became committee, it was just like really different, because I've got all these things to do. It was not just like come and go kind of thing anymore. I gotta like plan for the classes, you know, like make sure who's gonna be there for the table duties and all that kind of stuff.
Ultimately doing the thing itself and understanding the difference between friendships and committee relationships, and not knowing how to balance that, even dealing with other clubs or monsus or venues or like external personnel when it comes to, I guess, running the club. It was another story.
The difference between Carmen's year and Alex's year is very different, because how they do stuff is very different. So like in Carmen's year, they really focus on the work itself. I feel like they're a bit like colleagues for me. Like, of course we make friends there. We're also committee ourselves. We're also friends. But it's kind of being more serious in the meeting. So in meetings we have to talk about like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then done in the meeting. And after meeting, when we go dinner, then we can talk about our own stuff. But in Alex's year, it's a bit more relaxed. So we kind of mix different topics. We talk about the work we're doing, but we sometimes also go with our own like private stuff. I feel like it's a bit like Asian style and a bit like Aussie style. I mean, Alex is not full Aussie, but you know what I mean. Adjusting between those two was a bit hard for me, because I was used to Carmen's way of doing things, but now to Alex's, it was very different. So it took me some time to adjust that. But yeah, I also like that way of doing things. So it's an interesting experience for me to like know that, yeah, real different backgrounds, different people do have different style of doing stuff. And the president, the style, the background, the personality of the president do make a big changes for the whole club. Before Carmen's year, from what they told me, MMJ has a really strong stereotype as a K-pop club or K-pop crew. So I remember in Carmen's year, she tried really hard trying to get rid of that stereotype. So that's why in Showcase we tried a lot more different styles and different choreography.
It definitely used to be a lot of like K-pop related, I would say, or at least like in the first year that I joined. But yeah, and then afterwards I noticed that the club was trying to change towards non-K-pop and a lot more freestyle.
And starting from Alex's year, because he's a freestyle dancer, so he really wanted to try to push more on that.
We wanted to move the direction from choreography and K-pop, because that's what we were so commonly associated with. We wanted to move that and steer it towards foundations and like learning the styles rather than just learning the choreography.
Alec and Sanaka, both of them, they have a really strong networking in the dance community. So because of them, we get a bit more resources, such as like teachers and like events. We get to go to different events in the dance community because of them. And he always tell us like, you have to meet people, you have to make friends. You have to know more people so they can know you. So I remember when people talk about MMJ, they always said, you're from Alex Club, right? So in MMJ, they only know Alex. But I think at the later time, they kind of know more about us. And we also do a lot more events together, like joint uni events, like all the dance club they do, we do events together and they kind of know more about us.
So that first year, 2018, we were so focused on doing right by the club that I guess innovation in a way, it wasn't a possibility because we didn't know how to do anything ourselves. And so before we start proposing all these crazy ideas and like start changing the system, I wanted to learn first how the system worked. And that ended up taking that whole year. I found out with my second year of presidency as well, everything became easier after messing up so bad in that first run. Yeah, so yeah, you just live and you learn. That's kind of it. In 2019, camp didn't happen. We replaced it with a fan fest. It was like a week-long event of like workshops and like a party and a battle at the end. The next change for MMJ was MMJam. Yeah, that's an event that I hold like very dear. I was actually excited to run this event, you know, like being a freestyle dancer. It was so exciting to bring a freestyle format to MMJ and to bring other, I guess, dancers from the Melbourne scene and from other universities as well to come battle at our campus under our club. And it being such a huge success, like on campus with like a lot of people like standing and like sitting to watch. That was such like one of my proudest moments there.
I didn't know FEM like 2018. I only knew FEM because I was in committee. So I went to the 2-day workshop and then like the after party. So I think for the workshops, I did meet like a lot of people, and then like after because from there and then like we went to the party, I kind of like in the party I actually knew people and like that's good. Even though like I didn't end up being close with them, like I knew them, and then like if we meet, like we will like have a small talk, yeah. And then after that, whenever I go to like other uni clubs events, like I don't really feel like an outsider, yeah.
For me, I was in committee, and therefore a duty of committee is to go to other dance clubs events and, you know, support them as well, and obviously to go watch because we love dance. So I think because I always wanted to go to those events like Flair's production night, RMIT performance night, AOS had their showcase night, and MDS also had their showcase night. I was lucky enough to go to every single one, and whenever I went, I would see kind of like the similar bunch of people because I think maybe they were in committee as well, and they would come and support us as well at our showcase and at our events, and it was really nice to see that kind of support.
I think when I started, I kind of only saw the clubs as like a separate thing. So like RMIT will be only doing their own thing, MMJ will be doing their own thing, but now it's kind of like all together. So I'm really enjoying seeing the collaboration amongst the clubs. As well as that, it's nice to see MMJ participating in things like Project Humble as well, the blueprint, just because it's like highlighting your name as a club. You've been able to like expand the name a bit more amongst the Melbourne community. So
Blueprint was a 2020 project that wanted to get together different Melbourne crews and Melbourne-based uni dance clubs to learn together and also showcase their individualism and share that with all the other individuals in the Melbourne dance community, so that hopefully we can get to know each other more and become more of a community rather than just if you walk past each other, you know, during practice or something. It'd be nice to recognize them and say hi, rather than just like staring at them awkwardly and just walking past. I remember just like it never crossed my mind to choreograph. Like I would be 100% happy to dance in it, but I just never think of choreographing. And then when the opportunity like came up, I don't know, I thought, why not? I didn't choreograph too much, by the way. Like, I'm saying this, but I really didn't do a lot. It was really like co-choreographer, which I'm really happy to be, because I could run my ideas through someone else. To be honest, choreographing a bit of the dance wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, because it was the first time I had kind of added some moves into a choreographed piece that was being shown to so many talented people. Like, back then, the couple days afterwards, I wasn't feeling like the best after watching the videos back. Now looking back on it, it's definitely a good thing, a good feeling to have, because then you'll improve more. But I felt both proud, but also I knew that there was much room for improvement.
I taught urban semester 2 of my first year, because I think they were looking for teachers, and I guess I had this false sense of confidence that I could do something, and not really. I couldn't explain. I was like incredibly wrong about a lot of terminology that would be seen like really disrespectful, but I had a mentor during that time that I was able to lead me through the right ways, and had me understand the importance of foundation. She was able to lead me towards, I guess, like a more genuine path of dance.
During Alex's year of presidency, we didn't have much choreographers inside MMJ, and I really wanted to develop myself because I knew I wasn't the best. I knew I didn't have the right foundations, but I knew that I wanted to improve those. So I volunteered to split my teaching weeks with Veronica, and that's when I started teaching. And at the same time, that was my first time making choreography for a whole group.
At that time, they don't have enough teachers, I remember. And they asked me if I wanted to try. So both me and Jake, we were both interested in trying. It was better for a first try, because each week you have to think of a new choreo. That's a huge stress. That's even more stressful for me, more than an assignment. The teaching part is not hard for me, but the choreoing, the making that choreo part is very hard for me. I can feel that I'm really lack on the movement vocabulary, but it's a good try. Like, I'm really glad that I tried.
I was the type of person who wanted to do something different each time, like more sultry, sexy, more sensual. It's more about expression and feeling. Because how I was taught by my old teachers, Carmen and Zion, was that dance comes as a way to express your own confidence and your own way of feeling. So I want my classes to be the same. I
kind of have a more clear image of what my dance styles really are. So like before, my dance style is always like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, but I don't have a really clear understanding about what my style is. So after doing a choreography, then I really understand that, oh yeah, so my dance style is street jazz, is girl style. So I kind of define that more. And then I also have a basic understanding of how do I make choreo. When do I have that inspiration to do that? What time is better for me? What song can inspire me? So I kind of have that basic understanding.
Prior to teaching at MMJ, I had taught within my crew before, and I had also like subbed at different studios and things like that. Yeah, so I'd say I was quite comfortable with teaching. Teaching with my crew, we can just they'll just pick it up. Like, I'll show them once and they'll just pick it up because I've done the move 100 times. Whereas if I were to teach at MMJ, they're not used to the way I've taught it, or how fast I like to go, or even my choice of music might be different from what they're used to. So yeah, that was probably the challenge. I find the reward with teaching is challenging my students. So a lot of the time in my classes, I'll find that my students are kind of like, they look very concentrated. So everyone's concentration face is very like, and like you're not really performing it. So it's nice to know that I'm challenging my students. Also, another rewarding thing about teaching is kind of just getting to know more people as well. So yeah, with teaching at different places like MMJ, I got to meet a lot of different people and being able to perform at things like the showcase and things like that. So just working on a piece together with a whole new set of people instead of my crew, which is pretty cool.
at least for me, I feel like the showcases are like the biggest events of the year. So every time that finishes, I actually cry. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is finally done. Like, all the load is basically done. But then also the fact that, like, you know, it actually went smoothly and it was like successful. So the very most memorable one is the one that we did last year. It's the fact that, like, I was going out of my comfort zone. Sure, I like to do like all these boy group kind of like cool moves and all that. But yeah, going to the other side of it wasn't just like normal girl style. It was like ass out and like all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, why not? I'll just give it a try. And maybe because it was like my first ever piece in a showcase where I like organized things and I like managed to get people to do things and things went the way I wanted things to go. Yeah, maybe just because that was like the piece that I organized, so that's memorable.
For another show, like a friend asked me, because I think they need like someone to choreograph for them, so he kind of asked me, so I'm like, okay, yeah. So I did that, and then I was like, and then like in the community, I think we were talking about showcase and stuff, and then like I noticed like, oh, Veronica would talk about like, oh, what she's going to do for her piece, and I'm like, I feel like I want to do something, you know. So like I just asked Alec like, hey, you think I could choreograph a piece for showcase? And it was like, yeah, just send me like a video. So I'm like, oh shit, okay, I've never actually choreographed a whole piece before, so I'm just kind of like, I feel like I just wanted to stand out a bit more, so I picked out like something that I like, and like I feel like I don't really see anyone doing, at least in MMJ. And
It's like musical theatre, very like dramatic.
Yeah. Even though like I never really choreographed, and I think I got the courage to ask Alec more, like, cause I'm like, oh, when am I going to start if I don't start now? So I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. Like, even if he said no, like, it's fine. Like, at least I tried, you know.
When like the every week stress can push me to like do a choreo a week, that's a good thing. Because before I was always thinking of doing a choreography, but it's hard to push yourself to do it. But when you're challenging the teaching, then it pushes you to, yes, I have to do it because it's my job, I have to do it. But yeah, it's a good thing.
I'm here, I'm gonna be dancing in it, and these are all my friends, and if it's not now, then I don't know when.
I want the class still to be somewhere where they can feel confident about themselves, no matter if they fucked up that one move, if they can't do a body roll. To be able to, in different ways, emote a different type of yourself that you never knew you had, and the type of confidence that you never knew you had. It's a slow step, even for me.
I would say to any kind of beginner dancer, just have fun first. Like, the technique will come later, but what's the point of doing it if you're not having fun? In regards to technique, I mean, everyone must hear this a lot. Work on those foundations. Like, a good analogy that Keone Madrid likes to use is you'll learn your letters, and then you'll learn your words, and then you'll learn your sentences, and then you'll learn your paragraphs. You know, you kind of just build on that. So yeah, that really just hit me, like, mentally. I was like, wow, like, that's why you should learn foundation.
Reckon it really did change me, like in the sense that I was really not confident at all before. Maybe it was the club, and maybe the fact that I was, you know, vice president of a club, so I've got like all these responsibilities to do. So I think maybe I might have matured a bit more, which is funny because that was something that I got like from all these old gens that came back for the showcase. Like, after they not seeing me for like 1 year, they're like, oh my gosh, you matured so much. And I'm like,
I guess we clicked with each other really quickly, so we became friends. Yeah, my best friend. For life. Cheesy. Oh my god. Cancel. came to Melbourne, Australia, Monash University to study, and I think it was the first week of my first semester at Monash. There was like a, what is it called again? Like,
Oh wait.
Yeah, oh wait, yes. So I was just walking around and I saw a dance club and it was hip. She was the vice president at that time. She said hello to me. She was really friendly, so I was like really excited to join MMJ. I signed up on the day and I was the second member of the semester. Yeah, I remember. I was the second one.
Wise decision. At one of the lecture, one of my friends was like, "Oh, she passed by this dance club," and I heard it. I was like, "What? We had a dance club at a Coalfield? Where is it?" So I asked her about the information, and she was like, "Just at the lawn." And I just went there straight away after my lecture, and he was the one to sign me up as well. I was like, "Yeah, I would like to join." And then I told her about this. She completely forgot. She was the one sign me up. But okay. We became friends straight away because we were both auditioned for joining the MMJ crew. So we went for the audition, and funny enough, it happened to be she was the first one, I was the second one on the same day. So we were just talking outside
We did it
the
together.
audition room.
Yeah, we were really lucky to got into the crew. I think it was good that we both joined in dance crew because among like people within the dance crew, we feel more comfortable talking to each other, and I think it was really cool that everyone in the dance crew have same interests, and we were all young and wild. So we had fun. We always talk to each other. And most importantly, we enjoy dancing a lot together.
Well, I did dancing as a kid since I was like 7 years old or so. I did like jazz, hip hop, and then I kind of dropped out of it in high school. And so when I started uni, I was really keen to get back into dancing or just any kind of club activity. I was at Caulfield campus. MMJ was really the only dance club that was available, and so I signed up.
So I actually never really danced at all. I currently do not even dance at all. Like I only probably took a class because of MMJ, but the closest thing I did in terms of dancing was Just Dance or DDR in like the arcade or video game. I was open to anything if someone wanted me to take a class or something. I would. Like actually one of my good friends, Ziyun, she started teaching at MMJ, and so for her first class I thought, oh, okay, yeah, I'll support her and join her class. I wasn't not against dancing. It wasn't my thing that I started with, but I was more probably interested in capturing and creating, involving with movement and stuff like that. And just getting involved with stuff because, yeah, it was my first year of uni. You just want to kind of enjoy it and meet new people. In terms of actually how I found MMJ's, my first year at uni, I saw like a flyer on one of the notice boards and it said like looking for someone to help with videos and graphic designs and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that. So I called the number there and yeah, that's how I kind of like got involved.
Well, I guess the main one was Showcase. It was always something that kind of the year, especially the second half of the year, kind of built towards. So I'd say, yeah, Showcase is the main one and the highlight of the year, kind of.
Definitely a Showcase was like was a big deal. During my time, it was more just we were dancing in a nightclub. Like we still had performances and things, but it was not like with arranged seatings and stuff like that. I remember the last Showcase I went to, it was actually in a theater hall. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Even though like, yeah, there are benefits to a nightclub feeling where like afterwards you just have fun and go drinking as a uni student and with all your friends that you just completed this like nice dance together and things. But having it actually in a theater and having it a proper experience like that was really interesting thing to see the committee evolve MMJ into. And the camp, MMJ camp, I felt like those events in particular stayed pretty standard.
They started camp, I think, in 2014 from memory. It was just MMJ. And then what ended up happening is we just had a ginormous group camp. It was so intense, but we did it.
2015. That was the first year we actually had dance camp. with Uni Mountain, MIT,
Yes, we
Break.
did.
And us? Do we have anything else? Oh, we had so much fun.
I really loved that first year's campsite. There were so many areas to roam. There's like the little private beach. I remember one group of people started like a campfire, which was really cute. I know they had that infamous like K-pop dance with I think Ziyin ran it, and it was like all boys, and they had that like slut drop pose. Funniest thing, I still laugh at the photos.
Yeah, the really fun memories if we talk about it would be Maylee's K-pop dance with all the other boys joined, and there was a drunk K-pop dance class. Was so fun. I still remember that.
Then we also had like welcome party, general like social events. We had like drinking nights occasionally at people's places. Usually they were like committee meetings that we just turned into drinking nights.
2015, we both became committees.
You're the treasurer.
Yeah, you were the head of dance.
Yep, I am. I was.
The major reason for us to join, we got really close with Hit. Yeah, she just had this power to unite people.
I think in general because we got a lot closer with a lot of people in MMJ as the club, so we want to get more involved. Like we want to be together with everyone. We want this club to be better. I think that's also another reason why we joined committee. But Hip was one of the main reasons.
Yeah.
She was like, join lah! You guys join lah!
Join
committee!
And I think at the same time, Nadia joined as marketing directors. And then Darius joined the same time for committee as creative director. So that's when our friendship formed more tightly because we were together as committees. And I remember 2015 we really had really long discussions, went for 2 hours plus. For every meeting, you know, it was crazy. We were just so passionate. We were like, we need to talk about every details.
It's like a common theme in like our committee meetings was that our committee just loved to chat, including myself. It's like we just spent too much time arguing about like the minutiae of it, and then I was just like, guys, we've been here for 2 hours. I live an hour away from Caulfield. Let me go home. But yeah.
I felt like my position compared to everyone else's, like president, head of dance, and vice president, and things like that, was probably a little bit easier than everyone else's, because all I had to do was like turn up to a shoot, if anything, and then like edit it together, send it off, make any changes for feedback, and that's it. That would take up maybe like the last part of my day, but like I could definitely see during committee meetings that like everyone else was a lot more stressed than me. I guess a lot of the skills I did already have during high school because like I studied media, but then I would actually want to say that a lot of my learning process was with MMJ actually. Like making videos and things like beforehand was very much like a hobby. When going into uni, I didn't even do film studies or media studies. I ended up doing IT, but then when I started doing more stuff with MMJ, I gained more skills and things, and like I had all these base skills and things, but having experience and actually getting involved with making dance videos was from working with MMJ. In terms of changes within my time, videos became more prevalent. I don't want to say that I pioneered that or like anything like that, because no way am I the first person to introduce videos into MMJ. But then I guess because the committee saw that I had this ability to make dance videos somewhat professionally, we took advantage of that, and so we were able to start making more dance videos. I remember we made a few teaser videos for showcase, camp, and things like that. And I think at the very tippy end of my like time at MMJ, we started doing the big performance videos. Like I wasn't committee during them, but I was still helping out during that time. So like it was cool to actually have a big video that showcased all of MMJ's like talent and students and stuff. And so that was really cool to see.
I learned about dance in Hong Kong, and I was introduced by one of my friends who also loved dancing, and that time was around 12 years ago. And when I first went to Australia, I was looking around and see if there are any dance club around Monash, and just By coincidence, in 2011, the president at that time talked to me a lot and explained about, oh, Caulfield students should have a dance club. So that's why the founder at that time, two of them made the club. And that's how I joined MMJ. Met a lot of fun people over there. I was at the committee for some time, and then it was actually 2016 where I was president. And then I come up with something I think you guys must know is the MMJ project. So that time when I first came up with the idea, what I was thinking is that MMJ has been there for some years. So every year we want to come up with something that makes people memorize us. So we find few choreographers or few teachers, then all of them come up with something, and then we make that something into a really long dance piece. That time we're very happy that we hang around with each other during the rehearsal time, or after rehearsal we went on some drinks and food and etc. So it was a very memorable moment, I would say.
I think you feel the sense of you're actually organizing things to benefit other people. So you wanted to participate, you are able to make a difference. I think that's what I felt.
True, I agree. Like you feel more responsible. You want everyone in the campus to dance.
Oh, we tried so hard.
We tried so hard to recruit people and stuff. We were so into the vision and the mission of MMJ. We want to spread that to everyone in the club.
Join us.
I think other than having more responsibility, I think we're just like everyone else in the MMJ. Like we want to dance.
The story of me became the president was so funny. I was just there to support them because it was AGM, and then they forced me to, and I said yes. I was still on my crutches, guys. And next minute it's like 2017 president, Carmen. And then I was president. I was doing my study. I was also teaching at DSO and teaching at MMJ. So after 2017, I'm like, I'm gonna give MMJ. So I handed to Alec, and I have to focus on myself. But I was still dancing 2018. Then I also joined AO Crew around the same time, and that's when I still dancing until nowadays. So that's my journey. Yeah.
After I left committee and I finished up uni, I realized I could do IT as a full-time job, but I love doing video more and interacting with the clients like that. Having that experience, it definitely helped pursue my career a lot more, because at the end of my course I'm like, okay, no, I'm gonna do video. The whole story behind it is I started doing K-pop videos for MMJ, and then other crews started noticing me, and so they picked me up, and then Flair started doing some videos with me, and people within Flair started picking me up. And then not just the even dance videos, some people who started making small businesses within all these uni clubs and things started saying oh, do you want to make a music video with me, or do you want to make a marketing video with me and things. So it was definitely a big influence of my decision of whether I continue doing IT or making videos.
So sad, but I didn't really keep up with dancing too much. I feel like the main influence MMJ had in my life was the development of quite a few kind of lifelong friendships. I would say camp really helped kind of cement our committee that year. We all became really close. We're all quite close because we're all close friends from the year before, because we kind of all joined at a similar time, and that community group became quite close-knit. Most of my friends from committee are still my friends. We still meet up every week. Well, not every week. Way too often, #adult friendship, every month or so when we can. And in terms of dancing itself, I always mean to get back into it, but it's just quite hard in terms of I still really enjoy dancing, but I'm also not the type that I need to do dance classes or join a crew. I'm very happy to just go out to a club, enjoy myself, occasionally maybe freestyle on my own. Recently I have learned to do a bit of ballroom dancing in terms of merengue and salsa. Gone out clubbing to do that because it's so much fun. I really enjoy salsa and merengue. I still really love dancing, but it's just more of something that I do on my own time rather than I seek out external sources to do so. And in terms of influencing my current life or my current profession, I wouldn't say explicitly, but I would say the skills that I learned as a committee member and also as a choreographer really helped. Like those time management skills, these delegations, like the skills I learned helped my current profession, but I wouldn't say influenced exactly what I was going to do.
So even if I left MMJ or stopped being so active, I was still dancing outside. So I had a crew called Lace. Carmen was on them. Like Carmen, so I was teaching as well. So I was teaching at Diesel and I was teaching at some other places too. And eventually I joined AO crew as well. I think it's really cool that, you know, Carmen and myself, we kind of like progress along the way together. We auditioned at the same time, we joined crew at the same time, we started teaching at the same time, and then started to teach at Diesel at the same time. And
Support
then
my friend!
we just do a lot. Yeah, it's been a long way.
Yeah.
After like joining MMJ, it makes you love dancing more because of the memories, because of the friends. That's what makes me want to keep dancing.
I am still very good friends with like the people I was in committee with, Zion, Carmen, Nadia, Eugene, Bella. Like, we're definitely friends, I'm assuming for the foreseeable future. We're like really good friends from that point on. Obviously, like there's the point of like, I get to have a creative outlet, but yeah, having those people there, that family environment definitely made it a reason to stay.
Some of the old MMJ, I would say old MMJ, some of us were from Hong Kong also. So when we finished our study, we went back to Hong Kong. We still maintain our friendship over there. A couple of months ago, one of the old MMJ members actually get married, and I joined a wedding. So it is a very long-lasting relationship if you join MMJ and know the people over there.
I think what makes me keep dancing, I don't know, like the love of dancing. You know, you just like want to move, want to be sexy. Yeah, you just vibe to the music. Yeah, that's it. And if I say how MMJ impacted that, I think it was because the really, really pleasant, really beautiful memories that we had, it will never fade. Like maybe the memories will fade, but the feelings will never. Maybe that's why whenever I dance, I feel happy, you know, because like my subconscious knows that this is a happy thing to do. We could never become what we are today without MMJ in the first
And then without you!
Woo! Without you, oh, cheesy!
We started MMJ back in 2011, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 2010, 2011.
I think when we started the club, it was very shocking to us to find out that actually Caulfield doesn't have like a proper dance, like a place. The only dance society that Monash has is the Monash Dance Spot, which is very different. It's social dancing, and like there is no place for people to b-boy, for people to learn jazz, street jazz, hip-hop and things like that. So I knew Bin from school and we're both from Singapore, and then we just got to know each other. And then he was like, oh, you dance too? I'm like, yes, I do. And back then we were very keen with b-boying. To us back then, we're like, oh, you know, we want to dance, but where? Why don't we start? And Bin being so energetic, he was like, yeah, you know what, let's just start something. Let's just do it. I'm like, oh, okay, let's just do it. And people always ask me, why is MMJ called MMJ? And I'm going to explain to you why. MMJ stands for Monash Modern Jazz. And why is it modern jazz? It's because jazz as a dance form covers a very broad range of styles, from contemporary all the way to street jazz. And we wanted to find something that is in the middle ground to appeal to as many people as possible, from ballerinas like myself to b-boys like Bin. I think modern jazz, it's basically somewhere in between, you know, where everyone can be involved, everyone can participate, and it's a place for every style of dance. The acronym sounds very short and sweet, and that's the reason why we went with it. So I think it's great because we come from very different dance styles and we're interested in very different things, and then we could together. If it was me alone, I couldn't have done it. Yeah, Bin, do you recall how we started?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're really fortunate to have the support of friends. So, when you first start a project, you have a vision, a belief, a passion in your belly. And yeah, I just want to make it work. And we're just so grateful that they resonated with the vision and decided to join us for the journey. And I guess it was a bit of a snowball effect, where when people saw the momentum and the joy that we were able to bring, they decided to join us over the years. And just so grateful for the support from these guys. On behalf of both of us, we want to give a shout out to our first committee.
Yeah,
So there
really.
was Lena, there was Elias,
Eamon.
there was Joe, Eamon, Michelle. These guys were with us from the very start, and just so grateful for the trust that they had in us.
Yeah, and especially, actually most of them, the first committee and our first few members have absolutely no dance background. Like they were just 100% fresh. Actually, we talked to a wide range of people. And back then there were people who are interested in popping, locking, even K-pop. I mean, it took so much courage for them to say, look, I want to dance and it's really now or never. And so they just, joined us with blind faith and just passion. We actually have to have 10 members to actually register a society. And I still remember taking a piece of paper, asking people, with Bin, who else can we ask? And he asked his friends, I asked my friends, and they were just people we met, in our classes. We just told them, we want to start a club and we don't have enough people. Would you like to join? It's okay if you don't have any dance background. We will teach you all we know. We will seek dance knowledge together, and that's how we actually progressed. I mean, we were all very young, naive, sweet, and we just went in with all our passion. Yeah, so that's how we started.
The reason for me to join in the committee is just because the people are really friendly over there. Because I was a student, and when the two founders come to me and say, hey, do you want to be at the committee at MMJ for some time? And obviously as a student, my concern is that, is it gonna affect my academic? Do I need to spend a lot of time at the club? And I'm afraid that my study might be a bit impacted because of this. But then I realized that, the university life is not only about studying, right? We have to know a lot of people, we have to make friends with others, we have to train a lot of soft skills, just like communication skills or networking skills. This is the reason why I joined the committee at 2012. Well, it turns out that it is a great idea. I have no regret on this decision. Make friends is always a good thing, isn't it?
I joined MMJ even before uni. I was recruited by my friend who was already in there. And since I started MMJ, and I really found it is a very good club that brings everyone together in a way that it allows more people to learn about dance. We have a lot of fun, to have performances, all week flash mob, and all the weekly dance classes and stuff, and then enjoy the uni life together just to have fun. I think it's 2014 or 2013. I forgot the exact year. Yeah, I was the head of dance because I was really close with the vice president, Hip. Basically, we are all very close to each other, but especially with Hip, I'm still friends with her till now. It was a really fun time to think about organize different kind of stuff that we want to do before becoming the committee. Before that, I always wanted to do a joint club event or some other thing, because I think the big motive of dancing is not only about how you dance to a certain song, but it's more how dancing bring you together with the others. So we get to organize our first dance camp with RMIT, not a very official one at that time, but then we have some members from the other dance club to the dance camp. And then after that we had another Halloween dancing performance with RMIT. So I think it was a very great experience as one of the committees to able to spread the message of dancing is you have to like involve more people. It's not like the only thing that you can do within your dance club, but it's more like you can always ask for more people to join together and to, I don't know, to dance and have fun. Yeah.
I was at the committee at the second year of MMJ. The club at that time was quite young, so at the first year they didn't get much events. They have like weekly classes, and if talking about the second year that I joined as a committee, the thing we organize or something new, we have a lot of performance. I just browse on my Facebook on the photos at 2012, and then what recalled me was that we have some performance called the One World Week at Clayton, and then we have some showcase opportunity from Monash student clubs such as the Malaysian student club or the Taiwanese student club. So we actually get a lot of performance opportunity at the second year, which is my first year at the committee.
I think in our second year, we had maybe around 200 to 300 members, and I remember back then we booked like lecture theatres. Oh, sorry, not lecture theatres, tutorial rooms. Yeah, and there were like maybe about at least 100 people packed in that room. And actually, we had that event. We had that major event, the big yearly kind of event, a show. We call it the showcase. Yes.
Showcase.
I think in our second year. And I think that was when I realized that, this really took off, because we had people dancing all sorts of different dance styles. And I think that was when I really realized that our club has really evolved from our little interest group, I would say, to something that really has become a society. And I think from then on, the numbers went up and down over the years. But so far, I mean, it's still alive, so I think it's great.
When it first started, not a lot of people know about the club, and we have to try our best or try very hard to look for a lot of performance opportunity. And we talked to a lot of dance clubs, as for example Passion Studio, and that time we also talked to some other dance club around the CBD and also suburb side. So we have quite a lot of communication around the dance club in Melbourne. And then from time to time we are getting more famous by accepting a lot of performances, showcases, organizing some flash mobs. So the Melbourne know about MMJ, and over like a couple of years time, the number of members of MMJ I think nearly doubled. So this is how we grow our famosity and have this growth in the number of members.
And to add to what Jalene mentioned, I guess we started off with this vision about making MMJ a home for dancers, of different styles and different levels. And it was just so magical by the second year, just looking at this evolve. It's just wow, just being able to see that evolve.
I got interested in dancing since I was a kid, but then I never thought I could take it seriously or as a job. I always saw it as a hobby. And then when I did university at Monash, I wanted to find clubs or extra activities, and then I found MMJ. So then I just asked what type of dance it is, because as I'm from Ecuador, that's in South America, it would be very Latin related. But then they do many styles, and they have a really great variety of dances. So then I just signed up, and then got into all the urban dance that I never heard of it before in my country. I just fell in love with MMJ vibe and the styles and the classes and everything they got. So
When I first came to Melbourne, I only know a certain kind of dance, the very traditional dance style, like jazz, hip hop, house, whatsoever. And at that time, urban dancing style is not that popular. And we have K-pop dance class as well. This style is just very fascinating. Apart from that, I started whacking, with the whacking community in Melbourne as well. And everything I did with them is just very eye-opening. We went to battles. I learned more about how to freestyle instead of only doing choreos all the time. There was a time that I went to a battle with them in Sydney, and then we won the prize as well. My mentor Andy, like, he really taught me a lot of things. Because to me, I think dancing, like, there shouldn't be any restriction. Since I'm from like an Asian culture, usually people would think that dancing should be like girls doing it instead of guys doing it. And then for whacking, it's like something that is like a very unisex dance, and I really like love this kind of idea and culture. So I'm really proud to be one of them at that time. And yeah, for now I know that like the whacking scene in Melbourne is like expanded a lot, and yeah, I'm really like proud of them. It really inspired me a lot. Like when I left Melbourne to Hong Kong, I also like joined the whacking group in Hong Kong, and I did like different performances with them. But yeah, it's slightly different because dancing trend here in Hong Kong, people are more prone to battles and all that kind of stuff. But I really missed the time that I was in Melbourne, and people are like more chill. As you know, yeah, Melbourne is always like a chill place to stay. Yeah.
I think like in high school, I was like the type of student who was like good for all subjects, but then I didn't find anything that I would love so much that I could say, oh, I want to do this for living. But then like there was dancing. Like dancing was always like a part of that, but as we know, like in my country and I think around the world, being an artist is like so freaking hard. Like it's really hard. But then like it was a thing that I really like loved. I felt like when I was dancing, I felt like I was the boss. Like I will like just like be who I could really be, and I could be even good about it, and I had the talent and I had the passion. So I felt like heck yeah. I knew like when I finished my dance journey in Australia, like that I wanted to do this for living, like yes. I was really decided to do it, but then I wasn't sure because like I didn't know if there was this kind of dancing here. There is another culture, there is another like type of like dance background, so we do like Latin instead, like salsa and ballet and contemporary. But then for all those like street dances, then it was like all of that was like kind of new. And if it was new, like how are people gonna accept it? Like because like you know it would be like a culture clash kind of thing. So I was like really scared of that. But then when I came here in 2016 January, I think I was like really lucky because a new studio opened. This girl from Ecuador, of course, she came back from LA. She opened a studio, and I went to her. I contacted her, and it was kind of funny because like I wasn't known in Ecuador. Like all the dance, I started dancing really like into it, like really put hard work into it in Australia. Like MMJ was like my first dance school actually. But then I was like so confident about like all the things I started and how good I was, that then like they saw it, I think, and then they let me audition. And then I auditioned like two of my pieces. One I created for MMJ, one I created just for myself with the dance teachers at Passion. Like my last project before I left, it was like a dance video with the teachers that taught me everything. So I showed those choreographies, and then they said like, yeah, you're hired. It all started from there. And then I started as one of the first dance teachers in that studio, and that's the studio I'm currently working on. It has been like 2 or 3 years or so since then. So yeah, I think I'm really blessed for that opportunity.
I think dance is like a very great hobby to keep, and then it really boosts your self-esteem in general. It will make you more confident. I think in general it's like never give up on it, even though sometimes you don't know about certain dance moves. Just go with it, as in like you can always practice. Like practice makes perfect, and just don't be afraid to keep trying and keep doing what you love. Because the first year that I was in MMJ, I met Peng Cho. He really like improved a lot. And even now, he went back to his home country. He kept on dancing, and he has his own class right now. And then even for Ken, there was a time that I went to watch him performance at the K Festival. And then it was really inspiring because the first time I knew him, he barely knows the dance move. And then he really improved like a lot, like from 0 to 200. Like no one's perfect. Like everyone is always practicing to make it perfect. So I would say, yeah, it's a very good hobby to keep. So just don't give up on dancing.
I can say that from my experience, I took a few years of dancing, after uni to experience other, more in the gym, weightlifting, still movement. But yeah, one thing I've learned, as my time as an athlete is that sometimes, you might be really passionate about something, and sometimes you might need some time to explore other things so that you can come back with renewed passion. One advice that I would give, depending on the person's situation, is be gentle on yourself. Even though there's something that you love a lot, sometimes you have to maybe take a break so that when you come back, the passion is rekindled.
So over the years after I've left Monash, I've continued dancing intermittently. I'm starting to get back to it in recent days. I started out doing like open classes, and when that is not possible, I started to dance on my own at home, my own exercising, dance conditioning. So I always believe that even if you don't have time to actually go for classes to learn the choreo, being conditioned, it's very important, because I actually personally experienced a period of time where like a long period of time, like 2 or 3 years, where I didn't have the body, the physique to actually even move the way a dancer should. And I think that is something that is unforgivable to myself. Get my splits in, get my crunches in, get my squats in. So, the body is still conditioned to one day be able to dance, or when I'm free or when I can attend classes, I still am able to. I think that's very important. So I think dance is something that will forever be with me, and I will always find my way back to dance. So this is the reason I really encourage everyone to actually always go back to dance, and always, whatever life throws at you, you can take a break but never stop dancing. So that's really important.
End of our first dance class. It was after we were giving out flyers and promoting our club during all week, and then we had people come in for our first, session. I guess at the end of it, just seeing the smiles on their faces, like, wow, I've learned something new today. They come for the dance, but they stay for the community. So seeing, new people coming in, mingling between old and new faces, I think that's what really motivates me, or us when we see that.
Just to add on to what Bin said, I think exactly it's the fulfillment when you see people learning something new, or or just simply enjoying themselves. I think one memory I have which I still treasure is when Eamon and Michelle, actually after our first ever performance, they actually came to me and said, with tears in their eyes, and they said, that was our first ever dance performance in our lives. And they said, and actually said, this is our dream come true. We never thought that we were able to perform on stage ever in our lives. And so I actually felt like crying. I can't remember the dance. I can't remember what music we danced to, but I remember the feeling I got after that performance when they said, thank you so much for making our dreams come true. And it was amazing. And I really realized that dance is actually for everyone.
Yeah, at the end of the day, when I look back, uni days is actually really short. It's like a snap, it passes you by. Yeah, the friendships that you make, the experiences that you have, those are the memories that you hold, for years to come.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, just one word.
Oh, goddamn, that's the hardest question out of all of them.
MMJ was like a stepping stone that was really worth investing in. We have this legacy now that we look back. We have this legacy, and we had so many members that would cite MMJ as a big part of the university life. Looking back, I wouldn't have, the career that I have now without MMJ. MMJ was such a really good network, unintentional network as well, for people to grow. because you never know what's going to happen afterwards, you know.
I feel like it's just a mixing pot. Like mixing pot. That's my word, and why I say that word is because it's so much. Like there's so much with MMJ that you can't really put your finger on one thing. Like they provide a platform for people to learn, they provide a platform for people to teach, like myself. So yeah, in a nutshell, it's a mixing pot of like all these different things around dance. So it's really sick.
Chill. Maybe because it's a small club. As committee, even though it's stressful, there's not that hierarchy. It's not really like I'm your boss kind of thing. You know, we're chill. We're chill people.
I'm gonna be artsy and like, I'm gonna think out of the box. And I'm gonna describe MMJ as red. Like specifically the red that we use, like the maroony red, because we are classic, deep in history and quality, but we can also be fun and friendly.
It's like we're red, we're fire, but we're chill.
Late. We're always late. No matter, I'm looking at your camera. No matter where you come from, if you go to MMJ, you will end up becoming a late person. I thought I was punctual. I thought other people I met were punctual. Once you become committee members, they all became late people. Like we were never on time. But on a more serious note, I don't know, I don't have anything serious for MMJ. The other word I would have chosen was chaotic. I could choose either and still be true to how I see MMJ. And I promise this in the most positive light, I promise. I'm not throwing shade, probably to myself only, but you know.
For the committees and the friends that I meet in MMJ, I would say introvert cutie. We are a bunch of introverts. Of course we have some like extroverts like Alec and Sanaka. They were pretty outgoing, but like sometimes feel that I found the same type of person when like sometimes people said that dancers have to be extrovert, but no, you still can. Introvert can also dance, and I think MMJ kind of give that space for us, and I met a lot of cute people in this club, so.
That's too hard. I can't think. Community? I'm gonna go with community. Sorry. I think that's a shit answer, but I can't think of anything else.
I will use a specific term, it's TLC. Tender loving care.
Aww.
I think we had up and down in MMJ, but that's a place where you feel safe. They just generally care for you and love you.
I was thinking two words. First one is youth. And second one is happiness. The people that would join an MMJ are uni students, and that's my youth.
I would say friendship. With MMJ, even though your purpose is dance, like people are so nice that you couldn't avoid it.
Oh, it's gonna be lame, but if I say, because I've said the word so many times, I'm like family.
Family.
I'm gonna is that lame though? Nah, yeah, I'll stick with it. I'll be that cheesy guy.
The first time I came in to MMJ, I just feel home, as in all of them are very welcoming. I still keep in touch with all those MMJ members, most of them, and yeah, they are like a family for me all the time. Yes.
I think the word that would describe MMJ would be beginning, because I think it's a place where all of us have our beginning in some form in MMJ, whether it is beginning to our dance journey or our beginning to meeting more friends, and have a second word. The second word would be energy. I think energy grows energy, if you get what I mean. I think during my time in MMJ, it's where people just share their positive energy and their love for dancing together, and it's a place which you give energy, but you also receive energy. I think that's very important. So just those two words, beginning and energy. Yep.
I was about to say nostalgia. Just thinking back to all the good times when you reached out with this project idea. I went back, I looked at the photos, and I had flashbacks of the time at MMJ, the friendships, the experiences we had. It was such a fun journey, going through this, experiencing different dance styles, hanging out with the crew. Yeah, Just it was a wild ride.